Assalamu alaikum, our dear students. Welcome to a new lesson for our school, Qatar Technical School. And this is an English lesson for grade 10 using the Technical English Book 1. And the title of today's lesson is Electrical Circuit 1, Part 1. Before we start the lesson, let's have a look at the objectives. Today we're going to recognize the components of an electrical circuit. How or what are the things that we use to make an electrical circuit? And what are their names? And then we have listening for details. To be able to follow the lesson, please open the course book, page 38. Now we're going to start looking at some important vocabulary. Look at the picture. What is this? It's a part of an electrical circuit, and the name of this part is called fuse. Fuse, and the definition is a small wire or device inside a piece of electrical equipment that breaks and stops the current if the flow of electricity is too strong. Now let's start looking at another word. What is this in the picture? Okay, it's a group of cables. Cables. The definition of cables is a set of wires covered in plastic or rubber that carry electricity, telephone signals, etc., and other things. Now, with a new word, let's look at this picture. Here we see on the left a green cylinder, and it's the source or single dry cell. And we have wires, black and red. The yellow thing on the right is a load or a light bulb. And on the left at the bottom, we have a control or on and off switch. What do we call this thing? It's a circuit. Circuit. Okay, the definition of a circuit is the complete path of wires and equipment along which an electric current flows. So the electric current flows everywhere in this circuit, in all the components of this circuit. Okay, so if you look at this picture, you will see a terminal. Terminal. The definition of a terminal is a point at which connections can be made in an electric circuit. So it is a point where we can make connections. Okay, now it's the time to study the electrical circuit. Number one, do you know these electrical symbols? If we look at the diagram, we will see this is an electrical circuit, but we don't see cables, lamp, or things like that. But we see symbols, rumuz. What we need to do is to label the circuit diagram with the words in the box. Let's look at the diagram and study it very well first. We have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 3 and 5 are easy. 6, 7, and 8. Now let's read the words in the box on the left. Battery, conductor, fuse, lamp, negative, positive, switch, terminal. Okay, now I ask you please to pause the video for about 3 minutes. Try to label the diagram with the words in the box and then come back to check the answers. Okay, I suppose that you have paused the video and answered the question. So let's check the answers together. What is number 1? Excellent, it's a lamp. 2, of course, it's a conductor. Conductor in Arabic means muwassil, and we refer by this word to the wires or cables. Number 3 is easy, of course, negative. 4, battery. 5, positive, very good. Number 6, switch. 7, terminal. And 8 is a fuse. Okay, it's very important to try to remember these words very well. Okay, now let's move to watching a short film about how an electrical circuit works. We will see components and we see how electrons work.
Let's begin by looking at how a simple circuit allows a light bulb to light. A circuit is a route through which electrical current can flow. In our example, electrons flow from the negative side of a D-cell battery to a conducting material on the base of the bulb. From there, the electrons flow up a wire that is inside the bulb and across the filament, which is the part of the bulb that actually lights. When the electrons go through the filament, some of the electrical energy is changed to heat and light energy. The electrons continue down another small wire inside the bulb to another conductor on the base of the bulb. The electrons finally make their way to the positive side of the battery. There would not be a complete circuit if the electrons did not travel to the positive side of the battery, and the bulb would not light. When there is an unbroken path on which electrons flow, as in this example, it is called a complete circuit. The unbroken path that the electrons follow is called a closed circuit, because electricity will only flow on an unbroken path. The light bulb will not light unless there is a closed circuit. Now look closely at the light bulb, and you'll notice that there is an insulator between the conductor that leads up to the filament and the conductor that leads away from the filament. Remember that the atoms of conductors easily accept and pass on electrons. The atoms of insulators do not. As we discussed in the first section of the lesson, electrons will not easily pass through insulating material that surrounds a wire. If an insulator did not surround a wire carrying a current, it is possible for the electron flow to get directed to another conductor that comes into contact with the circuit. Electricity will follow the path of least resistance. If the electrons take a path short of the complete circuit, it is called a short circuit.
Okay, so we have learned from this video that the electrons move from the negative side to the positive side of a battery. Okay, now we need to label this diagram to understand how it works. We will start from the left. Number one is a solar panel. Number 2 is a controller. It has تحكم. 3 cables or wires, or sometimes we call them conductors. Number 4 refers to lamps, and here we have 3 lamps. And number 5 is a battery. To understand this diagram, we need to start from the left, from the solar panel. The solar panel changes the sun's energy into electricity. Then if you follow the wires, the black and red wires, the electricity goes to the controller. Okay, now it can go to the controller to 2 places, either to the battery or to the lamps. So if the lamps are on, what happens is that the electricity goes from the solar panel to the controller, then to the lamps. So the lamps shine. But if the lamps are off, what happens is that the electricity goes from the solar panel to the controller, and because the lamps are off, the electricity goes to the battery. The battery stores the energy so that later, maybe at night, if you switch on the lights, the battery gives electricity to the lamps and they shine. Okay, now let's move to our second objective for today, which is listening for details. And here we need to listen and match the items with their specifications. The items on the left are solar panel, controller, battery, lamps, and electrical current. Electrical current, التيار الكهربائي. And on the right we have A, 12V, 8W, B, DC, C, 5A, D, 60W or watts, E, 12 volts, 12V, and 100 AH. Now listen and match.
Unit 5, recording 29. Okay, so to summarize, here again, these are the main parts of the system. A 60-watt solar panel, a 5-amp controller, a 12-volt 100 ampere hours battery, and 3 12-volt 8-watt lamps.
Excuse me, what kind of electrical current is it?
It's a direct current, DC. Is that clear now?
Okay, after you have listened, now let's check the answers together. We should match number 1 with D, 2, excellent, with C, 3, with E, very good, 4, with A, and of course 5 with B. Thank you. So after achieving our 2 objectives for today's lesson, please don't forget to go to the teams to answer the homework. Okay. We wish you all good luck and goodbye.